Juliet can go. So I'll do vitamin A first. So vitamin A is also known as retinol, and you get vitamin A from foods such as liver, milk, cheese, eggs, yellow fruits. And I want to stress the yellow fruits part, because what you realize is that yellow fruits or orange foods, they're rich in vitamin A. They have the carotene and the beta carotene, which is good for your eyesight. So your foods like your pumpkins and your carrots, they're also rich in vitamin A. And vitamin A helps to maintain your eyesight. And when you lack vitamin A in your diet, you have xerophthalmia. Who wants to pick up? Angel, you're next. Vitamin B1.
Okay, vitamin B1. The sources are unpolished rice and whole wheat flour. It helps in aerobic respiration. The deficiency disease is called beriberi, I think it's named, and the scientific name is thiamine.
Yeah, so the scientific name is thiamine. Some people say thiamine. And we normally hear about vitamin B complex. So when we talk about vitamin B complex comprises vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, vitamin B6, vitamin B9, vitamin B12. All right, Juliet, you're next. Vitamin B2.
Vitamin B2 sources are lean pork, peanuts, soybeans, liver, and cereals. It helps the skin be smooth. Deficiency disease is retarded growth, and scientific name is riboflavin.
Yes, and scientific name is riboflavin. Thank you very much, Juliet. Who else wants to go? Let me look in the participants list. What about Rihanna? Is Rihanna here? No, Rihanna is not here. Rihanna.
Oh, sorry, when you called me first.
All right, beautiful. Your vitamin B3, which is niacin.
Okay. Sources are kidney, fish, whole grains, lean meat, peanuts. Plays a role in the release of energy from protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Deficiency disease is pellagra, and the scientific name is.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Rihanna. And just to ask the class, does the class know what is lean meat? Note briefly, the foods that are in the table, those are not all the foods that contain each vitamin. There are more foods out there, but we can't list all the foods, right? But out of curiosity, just does anyone know what's lean meat?
No, sir, not really.
No, sir. No.
Isn't it like chicken and like beef and pork and those stuff?
So it's meats that have a low fat content. All right. Vitamin C now. Who wants to do vitamin C? So yes, chicken can be lean meat, you know, Rihanna. Just to point that out. When this chicken has low levels of fat on it, like skinless chicken or the chicken breast, yeah, it can be lean meat. So who wants to do vitamin C? Nobody? Kader, you want to do vitamin C?
I'll do it, sir.
All right, Angel, since I'm not hearing Kader.
Vitamin C. The sources are citrus fruits, cherries, and tomatoes. The function is to help healing skin and preventing colds. The deficiency disease is scurvy, and the scientific name is ascorbic acid.
Thank you very much, Angel. So, vitamin C.
Sir, I have a question.
What's the question?
Okay, for the scientific name, do we mean the scientific name of the disease or of the vitamin, sir?
Scientific name of the vitamin. Just to point that out, I'm glad you asked that question, Angel, seeing that other person might be thinking the same thing. It's not the scientific name for the deficiency disease, it's a scientific name for the vitamin. So the scientific name for vitamin C is ascorbic acid. And it's found in West Indian cherries, tomatoes, citrus fruits like your limes, your lemons, your oranges, and it helps in healing the skin and preventing colds. Like many of us, sometimes we have a bad flu or we have a little virus and we hear the doctor say you need to drink a lot of orange juice. You need to drink a lot of liquids like your water, your orange juice. That's in an effort to give you a little booster for your immune system. So vitamin C helps to fight the viruses that causes colds and so on. Vitamin D, who wants to read that? Is Kai there? Kai, you want to read vitamin D?
Okay, sir. Vitamin D. Sun sources: sunlight, milk, egg, and yolk. Build strong bones and teeth.
Just to point that 1 minute there, Kai.
Oh,
Sunlight, milk, and egg yolk. So you know that the egg has the egg white, it has the egg yolk, different parts of the egg. So the egg yolk is what gives you
Yes,
vitamin D. All right. So it's not egg and yolk, you know, it's egg yolk. There's a part of the egg known as the yolk. That is the part that gives you the vitamin D. So it's not two, I don't want to say not two different words, but it's the name for one thing, which is egg yolk. All right. So it's not egg and yolk.
deficiency disease, rickets, and osteo. Scientific name: cholesterol.
Thank you very much, Kai. Just to point out, that's calciferol. All right.
Yes, sir.
Vitamin E, I'll read that. So vitamin E, also known as tocopherol, and you get that from avocado, spinach, papaya, broccoli. It protects cell membrane from damage by oxidation. And when persons lack vitamin E in the diet, it usually affects newborns. So you normally see anemia in newborns. For vitamin K, sources of vitamin K include callaloo, kale, liver, pork. It's essential for formation of prothrombin and other clotting proteins by the liver. And it's also known as the anti-hemorrhagic coagulation vitamin. And when persons lack vitamin K in the diet, you normally see hemorrhaging. So there's a lot of bleeding in the body when there is a lack of vitamin K. So it is more likely, or there's an increased chance of some form of rupturing or bleeding in the body because you don't have vitamin K. All right. We're going to be moving on and we're going to be talking about minerals. And there are a number of minerals that we need to talk about. We need to talk about iron. We need to talk about calcium for your bones and your teeth. We need to talk about iodine, prevents goiter. We need to talk about potassium and we need to talk about phosphorus. So the first mineral that we're going to be talking about is iron, and you get that from green leafy vegetables. And the function of iron is to help to form healthy blood. So foods that are rich in iron help to make hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is the red pigment in the blood that carries oxygen. For persons who normally have anemia or they're normally easily fatigued. Why is this? Because they don't have enough anemia in their diet, or they don't eat enough foods that are rich in iron. So they get anemia, they look pale. And when all of this happens, it's because they're not eating enough green leafy vegetables. So there's a red pigment in your blood known as hemoglobin that carries oxygen in the blood. When you don't eat enough green leafy vegetables to provide this hemoglobin, less oxygen is transported in the body. Now remember, all of us, we need oxygen to survive. All our body cells need oxygen for our cells to respire. Now, if we don't have this oxygen, what's going to happen? Our body functions is going to decrease and slow down. So we need this hemoglobin to transport large volumes of oxygen so that all our body cells can have oxygen in order to carry out their particular functions or to respire. You have calcium, which we get from milk and cheese and green vegetables. And the function of calcium is for us to form healthy bones and teeth. So when we're younger, our mommy make us drink a lot of milk and a lot of cheese. We eat a lot of cheese. When persons lack calcium in their diet, they get osteoporosis or tooth decay. Now, osteoporosis is the main deficiency disease here. And osteoporosis is when you have brittle bones. So because your bones are not strong enough because you didn't have enough calcium in your diet, your bones are brittle and they're easy to break. So for persons who have osteoporosis, one small little fall and they break a limb. They fall, say for example, Angel or Kai has osteoporosis and they're out playing right now. If Angel falls, Angel is more likely to break his foot or his hand compared to someone who does not have osteoporosis. Then you have iodine. And iodine is another mineral that is important because it prevents the deficiency disease known as goiter. Now, goiter is when your thyroid gland, it doesn't function properly because you don't have sufficient amounts of iron in your body. And you know that your thyroid gland is very important when it comes to hormone regulation, right? Because there's a particular hormone in your body that the thyroid gland produces. Now, when you lack iodine in your diet, what's going to happen? You're going to get goiter. Now, when you don't have enough iodine in your diet, you get goiter. And the function of iodine is to regulate your body temperature. And foods that you get iodine from include seafoods, such as your tuna and your codfish or your saltfish. You get it from eggs, you get it from yogurt. Then you have your potassium, and you get potassium from fish, fruits, grains, poultry, milk. Yes?
Sorry for interrupting, but may I go to the bathroom, please?
Sure, Angel. Sure, you may go. Purity, can everybody else see my screen? Just to ask. Can everybody else see my screen? Yes? No? All right, Purity, I'm not sure why you're not seeing my screen.
Sir, I can see the screen, but all I see is like it says recorded, but this green line around this black box. I can't see anything else.
Is everybody seeing the same thing as Purity? Or are they seeing my table?
I can see your table, sir.
All right. Well, Purity, what you can do is maybe you can just leave the meeting briefly and join back immediately and see if that is going to fix your problem. By the way, I have a bone to pick with you, Purity. So at the ending of the class, don't leave immediately because I have something to talk to you about. All right, let's go back to the mineral potassium. You sent a message, Kadir. I'm not seeing a message. We're going to go back to... No, I'm not seeing one, Kadir. Sorry to say, I'm not seeing your message. I see from Purity, I see from Angel. I don't see from you. All right, potassium. You get potassium from milk, fish, fruits, grains, poultry. It helps in the formation of glycogen. And when you don't have enough potassium in your body, you get glycogen depletion. And then finally, we have phosphorus. Phosphorus, you get it from cheese and seeds and salmon and nuts. And it's required for energy production and pH regulation. Now, there isn't a known scientific name for phosphorus, and you can see the same thing for potassium. And because potassium and phosphorus aren't needed in the diet in large amounts when compared to iron, calcium, and iodine, there isn't really a deficiency disease for phosphorus. All right? Now let's talk about water. Now, water is a very important commodity, right? When you were in school, you used to learn that 90% of your cells are made up of water and 70% of your body is made up of water, right? So water is very important. If you don't have water, you don't have life. As I go, or as I go. You can correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Nobody? So that means everybody agrees with what I'm saying then.
You're right, sir.
All right. Now, water forms about 70% of the human body, and it's found in foods and drinks, and is produced from metabolic processes such as respiration. So we talk about aerobic respiration, glucose plus oxygen, enzymes in the mitochondrion, giving you carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Now, the functions of water is that it forms parts of body fluids. It's used for numerous chemical reactions. It's used as a solvent. It's used for transport around the body, and it's used in cooling, right? So it forms parts of body fluids. It is part of the blood. It's part of the lymph and the tissue fluids. It's used for numerous chemical reactions. So when we talk about hydrolysis of food molecules, the breaking down of food molecules. So when we talk about us having our starch being hydrolyzed into maltose and maltose into glucose. So it helps to hydrolyze and break down different food molecules. Because remember, we have our macronutrients like our protein and our carbohydrates. We don't just digest protein. Protein has to be broken down into amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. And that is what our bodies absorb, right? We also have water as a solvent because it dissolves different nutrients during digestion. We have it for transport around the body. It is a major component of blood. And we know that blood is a connective tissue that carries hormones and dissolved gases such as oxygen and nutrients and all of those nice things, right? And it's also used for cooling. So when you reach upper sixth or even in 11th grade, they teach you about water being used as a coolant. And then they tell you that it has a high capacity. And then it is explained how water molecules evaporating off the skin cools the body. All right. So water can also be used as a coolant when you sweat because the sweat is going to evaporate off your skin and that cools the body. Now, ways in which you lose water and what are the effects of losing too much water? Now, who wants to read the ways in which water is lost in the body?
Okay, see. Ways in which you lose water, effects of losing too much water. Water is lost in feces, urine, sweat. Water evaporates when we exhale. Effects of losing too much water. Sunken eyes, dry mouth, no tears, loss of elasticity of the skin.
Thank you very much, Kai. So water is lost in feces, urine, sweat. Water is lost when you exhale, sorry.
Reduced
So
amount of urine.
if you, yes. So when you exhale, if you realize the air that is exiting your body, it's very hot. And if you continue to breathe on your hand or exhale on your hand, what you realize is that the water vapor that you release from your body is going to turn into liquid water. So water is lost when you exhale. You lose water when you vomit. Now, effects of losing too much water: sunken eyes, dry mouth, no tears. So those are signs of dehydration when you need to drink more water. Your skin is going to lose its elasticity. So it's going to, I think I'm going to have to use this more relatable example. Many of us, we have our grandparents, right? And as persons age, their body functions decrease, right? That's how I go. So their body functions and quality decrease. So you ever see their skin? How their skin is losing elasticity because they're aging? Yes, when you lack water or when you need water, that's what's going to happen. Your skin is going to lose its elasticity. Now, it may not lose so much elasticity because you're not that old, but it's going to lose elasticity. And then you have the reduced amount of urine. You drink less water, you pee less. You drink more water, you pee more. So let's talk about that in a little detail, because what you realize is that when we're going to talk about the live process of excretion, you're going to have to remember this that I'm telling you about now. So when you drink a lot of water, your blood is going to be diluted. Now, blood has to pass over every part of your body. Blood has to go to every part of your body. Now, a part of your body that this diluted blood is going to pass is a part of your brain known as your hypothalamus. Now, your hypothalamus produces a water conservation hormone known as antidiuretic hormone. Some persons say antidiuretic. It depends on where you are. That determines the pronunciation. But we can say antidiuretic hormone. So antidiuretic hormone is a water conservation hormone that is secreted down to the kidneys. Now, there's a part of your kidney known as your loop of Henle that deals with water reabsorption. So if I drink a lot of water and my blood is diluted, seeing that anti-diuretic hormone is a water conservation hormone, my body does not have to conserve.
Sir, can you expand on what that means, please?
What? Explain on
The
what?
all the sentence that you said. Just repeat the sentence that you said. That sounded real complex, and then just.
All right, let's go again. When you pee a lot, when you drink a lot of water, you pee a lot. When you drink less water, you pee less. Now we're discussing why this happens. If I drink a lot of water, my blood is going to be diluted. Your body is very smart. Your body is not stupid. God made you in a very, very, very good way, special way, that your body is very smart. Now, how does your body work? If I drink a lot of water, my blood is diluted. Now, blood has to pass through every part of your body. It has to go in your fingers. It has to go in your toes. It has to go in parts of your ears, parts of your brain, your eyes, everywhere, your teeth, everywhere. Now, this diluted blood is going to pass over a part of my brain. The brain has different parts. It's going to pass over a part of my brain known as my hypothalamus. Now, my hypothalamus produces a water conservation hormone called ADH, or anti-diuretic hormone. Now, anti-diuretic hormone is a water conservation hormone. What does this mean? When ADH is secreted down to the kidneys, it's going to tell the kidneys whether or not to reabsorb large or small amounts of water. Now, if my blood is already diluted, my body doesn't need to reabsorb water down at my loop of Henle. So my hypothalamus is going to secrete small amounts of ADH. Hence, my body is going to reabsorb small amounts of water, and I'm going to pass larger volumes of urine. What if it was the other way around? I drank less water, my blood is more acidic. What is going to happen? This acidic blood, or this blood that is rich in solute, is going to pass over the hypothalamus of my brain. Now, when the blood passes over the hypothalamus of my brain, my hypothalamus is going to say, okay, he needs more water in his body because his blood is not diluted enough, or it doesn't have enough water. So what is the hypothalamus going to do? It's going to secrete large amounts of ADH down to my kidneys. Now, when it is secreted down to my kidneys, there is a part of my kidney known as my loop of Henle that is going to reabsorb large amounts of water in an effort to try to get some more water in my body. Because remember, my blood is acidic. My blood needs the water, right? Because what you need to realize, guys, there needs to be a balance in your body. Your blood can't be too acidic. It can't be too diluted. Your body temperature can't be too high. It can't be too low. Now, when this large amount of ADH is secreted down to my loop of Henle, my body is going to reabsorb large volumes of water. And when this happens, I am going to be expelling less urine. So I go pee less. So I drink less water, I pee less. I drink a lot of water, I pee more. I hope everybody's on the same page. And that is how you get the reduced amount of urine. Purity, are we on the same page?
Yes, sir. I understand.
All right, then. Fiber. So that's what we're going to be talking about now. Dietary fiber. And on the screen, you're seeing your vegetables and your foods rich in carbohydrates and your healthy fats like your avocado. Let's get into it. Fiber is a plant material, cellulose, that doesn't break down when you digest food. And it is found in oatmeal and fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes. Now, the first function of dietary fiber or fiber is that it allows for peristalsis and it prevents constipation. Now, all of us should know what is peristalsis. All of us should know what is peristalsis. It is the muscular contractions of the alimentary canal that forces food down into the gut. So when you eat food, there are going to be muscular contractions from your esophagus that is going to be forcing the food down into your stomach, or even in your small intestine. Peristalsis has to occur to force food out of the body, because remember, you're going to have undigested food. I don't need that undigested food in the body, because it's going to what? Turn into feces, and you don't need build up feces in your body. So you're going to have to eat a lot of fiber so that the feces can be expelled freely. Now, if there isn't free expulsion, what's going to happen? You're going to become constipated. Constipated, you go to the bathroom, you can't do it. So the persons who have problems with constipation, what would you tell them to do? You need to eat more vegetables. You need to eat more fruits. You need to eat more whole grains. You need to eat more legumes, right? So the first function of dietary fiber or fiber is that it allows for peristalsis, and peristalsis prevents constipation. And two, it reduces your risk of developing diseases such as diabetes, heart diseases or cardiovascular diseases, obesity, and bowel cancers. Bowel cancers, when you have different cancers in parts of your body, such as your colon, because we know that there are different types of cancers, right? You have cancers of the stomach, the mouth, the throat. To be honest, I can't tell you which part of the body there isn't a cancer for nowadays. And cancer is the proliferation of cells. So cells just growing out of control and trying to take over other parts of your bodies. This can cause complications. Now, constipation is a condition of the bowels, the colon and the rectum, in which the feces are dry and hard, which makes it difficult and oftentimes painful to pass. And when it is passed infrequently. So that means if you go to the bathroom today, sometimes you don't go to the bathroom until maybe next week or the weekend, which is very unhealthy, because every time you eat, you should eat something that is so healthy that it sends you to the bathroom, maybe not immediately, but sometime after you eat that meal. Yes, Purity?
So you're saying when I eat something and it upsets my stomach and I go to the bathroom, that's healthy?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh,
What you eat shouldn't upset your stomach. Don't get it confused.
Okay.
Mute your mic a minute there. Let me respond, because there's some background noise. So don't get it twisted, guys. If you eat something and it upsets your stomach and you go to the bathroom, I'm not going to tell you that that is healthy. Because guess what? Maybe what you ate had some form of bacteria or virus in it. And you going to the bathroom is your body's response to try to get rid of that virus or bacteria, because you know that sometimes you don't eat good foods. So sometimes we eat foods from the wrong people. Like you see, when I was going to primary school, it was normally advised that if the vendor or the higgler doesn't have a food handler's permit, don't buy from them, because there's not a guarantee that they're qualified or trained when it comes to providing safe, hygienic food. So sometimes students will buy from the higglers or the vendors at the school entrance or at the school gate. They get sick when they reach on the school compound. Why is this? Because maybe the vendor or the higgler didn't practice some form of hygienic practice that they would have been trained to do if they had their permit, and they pass on that bacteria or virus in the food for the child consumes that food and gets sick. So when you eat a food, Purity, and your stomach is upset and it sends you to the bathroom, maybe you shouldn't eat that food again. Because I told you guys earlier that your body is very smart, and we should try to know how our individual bodies work. So we should know that when we eat something, our bodies not feel a certain way, good food. So you go into the bathroom, it is your body's response to that, and maybe it is telling you that, Purity, that is not good for you. So when you eat a food, it shouldn't upset your stomach. If it's good for you and it works with your body, it shouldn't upset your stomach. It may send you to the bathroom, which is something that is healthy, but it shouldn't upset your stomach. So once you have an upset stomach, you feel like you want to vomit or you're feeling nauseous, it sends you to the bathroom immediately and you have diarrhea, you know that it's not healthy. And constipation and diarrhea is not healthy, guys. Constipation is when you can't go to the bathroom enough or won't go to the bathroom enough because of how your body is working. And diarrhea is when you go too much. And remember, when we talk about science and the body and the human body and how it works, everything has to be a balance. You can't go to the bathroom too much. You can't go to the bathroom not enough. You have to go to the bathroom the right amount of times. So if for one day you eat 1 time and you go to the bathroom 4 times, what is in that food that is allowing you to go to the bathroom 4 times and you eat 1 meal? Maybe it's just something that wasn't good for you. And that is not safe, because continuous diarrhea can lead to dehydration in the body, and dehydration can lead to other complications in the body. Because remember, when you are having diarrhea, your body isn't getting enough time to absorb nutrients from the food that you eat. So that is why sometimes as you eat and the food doesn't work along with you, you go to the bathroom and you start having diarrhea, your feces is so watery because your body's not getting enough time to absorb the water and the nutrients from the food. All right? I hope that answered your question, Purity. Now, what are the causes of constipation? Not drinking enough water. They say that we should drink at least 8 glasses of water a day. Not eating enough dietary fiber. Not exercising enough. We need to change our diet routines. So we can't get up every day and eat fried chicken and fried French fries. No, we have to change it. So sometimes we can eat a little French fries. And like I would advise students, treat yourselves on a Friday. So during the week, eat healthy. Eat your vegetables and your fruits and all the healthy stuff and your yogurt and your kale and your callaloo. And then on Friday evenings after you finish school, you have a little junk food. So you can have a burger or a piece of KFC chicken or some French fries or a slice of pizza. Not too much, because remember, you need a balance. So you need to practice eating more healthy, guys. And you know, we oftentimes hear the Ministry of Health and Wellness saying that 1/3 of Jamaica's total population, we have nearly 3 million people. We have about 2.98 million people, not even 3 million. And 1/3 of that is doing what? 1/3 of that has non-communicable diseases such as cancers, cardiovascular diseases such as heart attack and stroke, and atherosclerosis. They have bowel cancers, they have diabetes. And guess what? All of these non-communicable diseases are arising from the lack of dietary fiber, the lack of enough water, the lack of exercise in our bodies. So we need to increase our dietary fiber, increase our water intake, increase the number of times we exercise, because being inactive can also lead to constipation. So at least 3 times per week, or if you can do it, at least 30 minutes per day, get up and try to be as physically active as you possibly can. Now, what are the effects of constipation? You have bloating, you have abdominal pain, you have hemorrhoids, you have fecal impaction, you have colorectal cancer. So yeah, prolonged constipation can lead to cancers. Now, hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are when you go to the bathroom and you're constipating and you have to be forcing yourself to expel feces. So when you're forcing yourself, sometimes you have hemorrhoids where you bleed because you're forcing yourself so much to expel whatever waste that you want to expel, and you're forcing yourself and you're forcing yourself.
Why do you bleed?
Because the force that you're going to be exerting on your body to try to expel the feces is going to cause it's going to cause certain things in your rectum area to burst.
Pop.
Yes. And that's going to cause some bleeding. Now, it is not fatal. It's not fatal, but it can cause some uncomfortableness and it can cause some pain. So what is the solution? Eat a dietary fiber, drink a lot of your right amount of water, exercise, and you don't have no bloating, you don't have no abdominal pain, you don't have no hemorrhoids, and most importantly, 10 years down the line, you don't have no cancer. Now for diarrhea, it is when you have ingested something or you touch your surfaces around you, pick up a bacteria or virus on your hand and you put it in your body when you touch your face and your nose. So even when this pandemic is going on, you saw persons promote hand washing and sanitizing your hands. Because guess what? When you touch different surfaces, the viruses can be on the different surfaces. And when you touch these surfaces, you pick up the virus on your hand. Typical Jamaicans, the first place where we put your hand, in our face near remote. And this is how the virus is going to enter into our bodies and cause havoc. Same thing with bacteria and different viruses, like the E. coli. That's a very famous virus, or the salmonella. So salmonella and the E. coli bacteria or bacterium, those are two famous bacteria that are normally found in food. So a lot of times persons have the constant diarrhea or the frequent diarrhea and the vomit and so on. Maybe they just ingested some food that was infected by a bacteria or a virus. And when this happens, they're going to have frequent and abnormal bowel movements. And this is going to cause dehydration, which may cause an electrolyte imbalance. And when you have severe diarrhea, it can lead to malnutrition. Because when we get down further into the content, what you're going to realize is that when you talk about people being malnourished, it isn't just about not having enough nutrients, they look skinny and mager and suck out. No. Malnutrition can also mean overnutrition. So when you have too much nutrients or you're consuming too much calories, which causes obesity. So malnutrition can be undernutrition. It can also be overnutrition. And you're going to realize that when we get further down in the content. Food poisoning. Eating contaminated food is a common way of becoming infected with pathogens that cause diarrhea. Chances of getting food poisoning can be reduced by practicing good food hygiene when preparing foods. And we know this, washing our hands and our utensils, disinfecting our workstations or our food preparation services, washing our fruits and our vegetables before we cook and we eat them, keeping uncooked foods, especially meat, poultry, and fish, in safe places. So when you finish cooking your meats or your fish, you don't leave them out in the open for bacteria in the air to go on them and start to produce different things on them. You put them in, you seal them up in a nice, well-sealed container, your nice dish at home, you put them in the refrigerator. You cook your food thoroughly. That's very important too, guys. What you realize is that it is almost inevitable to get a food that has 0% bacteria on it. That's just the honest truth of it, guys. And that is why you have to practice these different hygienic practices to reduce your chances of getting sick. So when you buy food, a lot of times the food is contaminated with bacteria, you know. But guess what? Bacteria is microscopic, so we can't see it. What are we going to have to do? We're going to have to wash our fruits and our vegetables properly. Most importantly, when we put it on the fire to cook it, we need to cook it properly. So we need to cook it at the right temperature for the right amount of times. That means you have to go and cook the food and burn it up, but you need to cook it properly, especially your meats. Because for meats like your pork and your chicken and your different types of fish, you need to cook them properly because bacteria can be on these foods and we may not see the bacteria and it can get us sick. And let me tell you guys, when it comes to meats and bacteria, you shouldn't play at all. You can eat a piece of fruit or vegetable and you get sick, but the most dangerous types of bacteria, they're found in meats and poultry and fish. I remembered I was talking to a family friend and she was telling us about one of their cousins that ate a piece of raw meat. So, you know, abroad, normally when families meet together, they normally have their little grill where they jerk this or they make hamburgers and so on. But that relative told us that they bought the meat for the hamburger. So they didn't buy the ready-made hamburger that is made in the circle. They bought the meat patty and they shaped it into the hamburger. And the hamburger took a while to cook. And a little one of their cousins, a little cousin that they had. Because you know that kids are around the place playing. They don't have any care in the world. And the cousin took up a piece of the hamburger and ate it. And he got violently ill. He had to go to the hospital and they had to start doing a lot of tests. But guess what? For a while, nobody could tell what he had consumed that got him so sick. And if they can't tell what he had consumed, the doctors couldn't make a move on how to treat him. Because the doctors first have to know what he ate that got him sick in order to approach finding a solution. And it took a while and he got very sick. It reached to a point where 1 and 2 of his organs start to shut down because the bacteria, the toxins that the bacteria was releasing in his body was starting to shut down his organs. So that is how dangerous it is, guys. So you have to be very careful when it comes to food and food preparation, because remember, your body is a very important place. You have one body. You don't have more than one. And if you don't treat this body right, you don't have another body to get. So when this body breaks down because you don't treat it properly, you don't have any other body that's going to stay down there, break down body until you die. Now let's talk about balanced diet and
I have a question,
malnutrition.
sir.
All right, Angel, what's your question?
So basically the bacteria that are on the meat are the worst or the most
They're some of the most dangerous ones.
Oh.
So when you will have a bacteria on vegetable and so on, those are dangerous as well. No bacteria is good enough, but bacteria found in meat, they're very dangerous. You have to be very careful.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Angel. We have about 3 minutes left. Let's see if we can talk about malnutrition in that time. I really wanted to play a game with you guys today. I made a Jeopardy, HSB Jeopardy game, but no worries. If we finish,
Jeopardy what, sir?
I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys when we finish malnutrition. Let's get back to malnutrition and then I'll show you guys. Now, malnutrition is defined as the serious condition that happens when your diet does not contain the right amount of nutrients. Now, when your body does not contain the right amount of nutrients, this could mean that it has it in excess or it doesn't have enough at all. So it can talk about undernutrition and overnutrition. Now, malnutrition can result in things such as protein energy malnutrition, that we call PEM, and it can also result in obesity. You have excess amounts of nutrients. And we know people who are obese, they're fat, they're big, they have excess amounts of body fat. Now, some causes of malnutrition include anorexia nervosa and bulimia. Now, anorexia nervosa and bulimia, they are two, what I love to call more of a mental disorders in a way, because you're telling yourself that either you're too fat or you don't look good or something of that sort. And so you try to invoke a response to make yourself feel better. For example, persons who have anorexia nervosa, what they do is that they eat a lot of food, right? Persons who have anorexia nervosa, it's an eating disorder. So they say that, oh, I look too fat, or, oh, I need to lose some weight, and they do things that they shouldn't do. So anorexia nervosa and bulimia, it deals with persons starving themselves or persons eating excess amounts of food and then they force themselves to vomit. You know that. It is.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
So you know persons eat a lot of food and then they force themselves to vomit so that their bodies don't absorb all the nutrients. And then you have some persons who just say, I look fat, I need to starve myself. And they eat small amount of food or they don't eat at all. and that is unhealthy. So what are the effects of malnutrition? It can cause reduced muscle and tissue mass / weight loss, and that deals with undernutrition. It can cause decreased mobility and stamina as a result of muscle wasting. Again, that deals with undernutrition. It can cause an increased risk of infection due to decreased immunity. And that's very important because what you realize is that your immune system gains its strength from the foods we eat. So if we eat healthy foods, like our fruits and our vegetables, and the right amount of carbs and proteins, we have a strong immune system. But what if we lack nutrients in our diet? Then what's going to happen? We're going to have a decreased immunity because we have less nutrients because we didn't have enough food. Now, wounds take longer to heal and illnesses take longer to recover from as the body is worn down. So that deals with undernutrition as well. So when persons are malnourished, their bodies are, it doesn't receive the care it should. And when it doesn't receive the care it should, you don't have the right foods in the diet, you're not getting the right nutrients. Your body is going to be working basically on air, and that can help your body. And finally, you have death. Prolonged malnutrition can cause death. So when you hear about different countries in Africa and Asia, where you have continuous wars and there is food insecurity, and that's leading to a food problem or a food crisis, persons are starving, persons are malnourished. And you know, prolonged malnutrition, it can cause death. Because if you're not getting the right nutrients so your body can work as it should, your body is going to eventually shut down. And that is what malnutrition is all about. Now, when we come on Friday, we're going to be talking about the different ways that one can be malnourished. So we're going to be talking about obesity, anorexia nervosa, protein agent malnutrition. Give me a second, Kadir, please. Kwashioka, marasmus. Then we're going to be talking about your body mass index. That's very important. So we'll be talking about obesity, anorexia nervosa, bulimia, protein energy malnutrition, kwashioka, and marasmus. And then we're going to go over to your BMI or your body mass index. Now, I'll be taking all the questions now, and then I'll be showing you the game, and then you are free to leave. What was your question, Kadir?
Sir, because I didn't see my images by Gmail, sir, I sent you by WhatsApp.
Kadir, at this time, I won't be accepting anymore, you know. I won't be accepting anymore. I have to be honest with you, and I'm going to be honest with the class, though. I'm not accepting any more assignments. I gave you guys a deadline of 10:30, so I won't be accepting anymore. You got 2 weeks. On Friday, my assignments were due from the previous week. I still didn't get them. And then after I give, remember, let us go through it. I want you guys, I love to tell you guys that I love to reason with you. I gave you this assignment from the first week in October. The first week in October was the 1st, right? That's how I go. I gave you guys from the first week in October. I told you guys that it was due on the 22nd. That's how I go. Yes, it was. The 22nd, I didn't receive anything. I then said that you had until this weekend to complete it, which means that you got last week, which led up to the 29th, last week Friday. And then even though I still didn't get any last week Friday, I still gave you guys an opportunity to complete it. And over the weekend, I still got nothing. So
Sir, I won't money on the weekend.
I didn't see anything from you, and you didn't text me or message me to indicate that you sent anything. I didn't see anything in my email. If you had texted me and told me, then I would have told you how to move forward. But if this morning they come now and they tell me, say, go submit it, no, I won't accept it. I gave you guys a cutoff time of 10:30. I said, when 10:30 come, nada. I won't be accepting any more. And I'm going to keep my word today to my